Warning. It is the opinion of the 4th Street Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle. I'll come today by the one and only Rich Latta, and our special guest today is JR Roach. Just in case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You know, it's on the Twitter and the TikTok, the Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspective@gmail.com. And please like, subscribe, so we keep bringing you this sweet, sweet content. Rich, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
JR, you ready to do this?
Right on.
All right, man. Speaking of being ready to do this, let's get this thing started. Let's go.
Right on.
It's our objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our vibe and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. Would you share it? Would you share it? Would you share it? Working perspectives.
All right. On the show today, we have Renzo Gracie black belt, JR Roach. He's an instructor at the Renzo Gracie PA Academy, but we want to wind back and see kind of where he started. So, JR, where were you born? Where did you grow up?
So I was born in the Abington area.
Okay.
Abington Hospital, really.
All right.
Kind of lived around a couple places, mostly in this area though. You know,
Yeah.
kind of mostly Lansdale now.
Okay.
So nothing too exciting about where I've lived or where I've gone. So
Yeah. Nice. And
I can make some stuff up, but
yeah.
SPCA.
Yeah.
I was adopted in my forever home.
What? And you grew up in this area too?
Grew up primarily in this area.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
North Bend High School is where
Okay.
I graduated from.
Nice.
So
Nice, man. All right, cool. And then what I like to ask too is when you were coming up, what were kind of some of the sports that you did as a kid?
the typical grown up sports, the baseballs of the world.
Yeah.
Not really football.
No.
I was supposed to actually play football in high school.
Yeah.
My gym teacher was actually the coach,
Oh, okay, cool.
but it turns out I broke my leg in his class, that gym class, the very first day before tryouts. So
That'll put a damper on things.
he didn't want me limping on the field for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think he was all about the wins, really.
Yeah. This guy. Yeah. No team aspect.
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Yeah. This is a mean team. Come on, man.
Yeah. How about
You're going to be a blocker.
You're
You're just going to stand there.
stand still.
nice. So then, okay. So
So
then,
that's not my football career route.
yeah, nice. And then, did you do any like baseball or anything? Just like little league stuff?
Yeah, little league stuff, things like that. Nothing overly exciting.
Acting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's the
Plays.
off Broadway shows, a couple
Okay.
of those, but nothing really.
We always get the kids are like, I'm going to be in a play. I'm starting to do the acting. What are you going to, what part are you playing? Oh, I'm going to be a bush.
What the best bush ever.
Like,
This is
or a tree.
important.
I'm like, well, that's where they start you. I'm like, oh, do you have words?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Just Russell.
Okay.
Ouch, yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember though, a couple of years ago, we had a kid that did boxing that he was in Creed. He was in like this Hell's Kitchen movie.
Yes.
With like Melissa McCarthy and like got Tiffany Haddish. Like he played like a kid in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, good
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Guy. But yeah, he had like a SAG card and
Holy
everything.
crap,
Yeah, he had like 14 credits or acting credits in movies. Yeah.
Not a bush.
No.
No.
This kid, yeah, he was a good looking kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so he did well as like a son or a grand, whatever. Dude, he's been in like scenes with Stallone and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
God.
It broke well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really. And like, dude, He wasn't the one telling you. You know what I mean? His dad, like I don't think he wanted to tell anybody, but his dad was like, "Oh, dude, this kid, you kidding?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. His
Which
agent,
is-
his dad was his agent.
I said, dude, his dad was cool, but if that was my kid and he's in a scene with Stallone, I've been like,
Yeah.
just so you fucking know.
Just saying.
He played the shrub outside the gym.
yeah.
You probably remember that part, right? Yeah.
We would have all been the punching bag.
Yeah.
So okay, so then you're coming up and stuff. When did you first get introduced to like mixed martial arts and see like Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Probably a lot of it was around the same time a lot of other people did, kind of UFC days.
Yeah.
But it was always something about jiu-jitsu specifically that was interesting. You
Yeah.
know, I like the MMA aspect of it, but jiu-jitsu was always interesting. I kind of, whatever internet content there was at that time, I
Right.
kind of would go down.
Yeah,
those
not much,
people.
right?
There wasn't a ton.
Nothing.
No, and it was
You get VHS.
exactly.
Yeah, there just wasn't much.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't much out there, but whatever I could find, I found really interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to do that someday. But
Yeah.
then, life
Right.
pushed
Yeah.
that out further.
Yeah. Everyone said, but then, but you also, did you start, because you did kickboxing too. Did you start kickboxing first or jiu-jitsu first?
Same time.
Same time.
Same time when I came here. Yeah.
Okay. And then what year was that when you came here? Because think about this, right? What is it, 96 maybe?
Yep.
When Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu really kind of started to get a hold in the United States as far as like people knew what it was?
Yeah, I would probably say because you had the infant stages 94, 95. By 96, you had a couple little
Yeah.
hubs here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Royce Gracie had become more of a household name and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So then what year did you first start coming here?
2010.
2010. Oh, okay.
It was quite a bit later because everybody else, I had a job, had a kid.
Yep.
But decided I was going to go back to college because
Yeah.
company was going to pay for it. So I did, full-time college with kid, full-time job. So there wasn't a whole lot of time in life for other things.
But you had told me so prior, like you said, and this is something we see in here all the time, where it's you get married, you got a kid, you
Yep.
put on some weight,
Absolutely.
right? Like, and that's across the world, right?
Smacking pounds.
Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
exactly. You know what I mean? You're hanging out watching Barney, and you want to,
Look at that's why pets put on weight when you have young kids.
Yeah.
The animals put your cats, your dogs. When you have a baby, everybody puts weight on.
Exactly.
Because everybody's snacking. They're getting whatever the kid doesn't eat,
Yep.
falls on the floor. Now you got a baby.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the pets are getting them.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
You
absolutely.
know what I mean? We got a cat that likes little goldfish. Like we have to put our stuff away at the house
Yeah.
because fat ass Hampton will go down there going through whatever on the counters.
Yeah.
Like you have any sweets or anything, he'll rip open the packages with his little and it's
Genius.
crazy. So we have
That's
to we have to hide can't leave anything out. If we'll hear rustling around at night and kind of be like, Rich, did you put everything away? And I'm like, I thought I got everything off the counters. I hear Hampton down there and he has a packet of oatmeal, brown sugar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's already ripped them open
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And he's diabetic, so I can't take a chance on top of that because he was a 30-pound cat.
Clearly a snacking problem.
It's like-
up with them.
It's like fat ass Hampton. And there he is. And I'm like trying to open up the packet of
Yeah.
freaking oatmeal. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
But it's funny. Most people would like if you hear something down in the kitchen, you're like, oh shit, someone break
Yeah.
it. Like I said, fucking.
Oh yeah. He's up on your counters going through whatever's left out. Tries to open doors, like open the cabinet doors.
No.
They're not shut tight. They open.
Gee.
This is getting a little more health conscious with the oatmeal.
Yeah, right. Cereal boxes on the floor. They'll get ripped open. So
Golly.
he likes to eat. Always did. I've never seen a cat like Karen has like a popsicle in her hand. He's over swatting her, and she'll give him a lick off the popsicle. And he'll sit there the entire time.
Golly.
He'll smack it out of your hand. You're not paying attention. He'll knock that damn thing right out of your hand. Ice cream, loves it. I
Explains
never
the
re-
diabetes. It really does.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I remember having a bowl down. I had chopped up bananas, little syrup on it,
Oh,
and even
yeah.
Ruger and them. Boom, sitting there, I'm getting ready to watch a movie. And I come back in. Hampton must have put his whole face in. He had it up on his whiskers, like up on the top of his head, and then he had a spot on his nose, and he's like, you could tell his eyes were crossing. What? I'm
He was
like,
in a coma.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
So he had gotten a little bit of all that. I
Oh.
thought, oh man, this cat's gonna die. And
You have to give this thing an insulin shot.
oh yeah, I'm holding him down to wake him up.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
freaking throw
man.
out the bowl of ice cream that he decided to take some giant bites out of.
Yeah, yeah.
You could see where his little face was.
Yeah.
And he got a banana. What cat eats a banana?
Yeah.
But everybody that knows us that met Hampton's like, yeah, that's Hampton.
Yeah, you hear about. Yeah, he's one of those you hear about before you see him. Yeah,
Cat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like a junior mountain lion. Yeah, and he's obsessed with Karen.
yeah. Man, so okay, so but like we said, you had what had happened? Are you cool to talk about this? Like you had gone to the doctor for like
Yeah.
a normal visit,
Yep.
and then you had gotten blood work, and he was like, "Hey, let's fucking go here." So like, what kind of happened?
Yeah, so I had, like any other thing, you had like a sinus infection or some shit. Go to the doctor. It's a new doctor at the practice. I've been there plenty of times before, sinus infections and stupid shit.
Yeah,
And he's like, he took my blood pressure. He looked at my weight, and at the time, I never crossed 300 pounds. But I was knocking on the door. I was about
Yeah.
298 ish.
yeah.
I never actually hit 3. I was knocking on the door.
That's a bowel movement away.
Exactly.
That's one thing.
That was half a pizza from
Yeah.
crossing over.
I've been over 300 a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You know.
So he goes, all right, man. He's like, hey, you ever just real nonchalant? I'm like, hey, man, you ever had your blood work done? I'm like, I was 30 at the time. I'm like, no. He's like, why don't we just do that? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So he gets it. About a couple days later, I get a call back. Hey, man, so you're too fat.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
At least it didn't sugarcoat.
No,
I was just saying, didn't butter it up.
Just to be clear about it, you're too fat. I'm like, fair enough. I was like, he's like, your blood work. He's like, I wasn't gonna bust your balls about your weight, but your blood work sucks. Your blood pressure's high, like
Cholesterol.
cholesterol.
And you're
the whole-
30.
Yeah, and I'm 30. He goes,
Yeah.
honestly, he's not a problem now. 10 years from now, it's gonna be a real problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's thinking about your kids and your wife.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
So he's doing you a favor.
so I was like, all right, man, I'll make a change. How many times have you heard that before?
Yep.
Sure. No.
But
He's-
no, I was serious. Like, I was serious. I wanted to start making change, start doing a little bit of cardio shit and stuff like that. Just the basic
You know what the
stuff.
threat
try to lift
was,
the
though?
weight.
He said, you don't start losing weight, you're coming in for a proctology.
We're
I'll
doing,
tell you.
we're going to
Use the bigger diameter one.
we're going at
We're
it.
keeping you awake, Kermit. Yeah. Could you imagine if that was the third? He's like, look, if you don't drop 20, we're sending you to the
You win.
proctologist.
Like you win.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, man. Yeah. So okay, so what was your like? Because I'll tell you this, and I think this is one of the selling points of the gym. And I don't know how many times we've said it, Rich, and you said it as well to other people. It's like there's only so many times you can run on a treadmill and lift weights. You know what I mean? Like as much as it's good to pump some iron and do all that, like you need something that's mentally engaging, that you see results, that you're learning. So that's like, when you started working out, you're doing like the normal, just running and all that.
Cardio stuff, elliptical time, just eating better, that kind of stuff, which, takes off some initial weight, but
Yeah.
it doesn't,
Yeah,
make it better. It doesn't get you where
you hit a
need to
wall
be.
with that,
It's-
yeah.
It's hard to do
exactly.
both at the same time.
sure.
And listen, it gets boring as shit.
Oh,
Like,
bro.
Yep.
I like lifting weights. I like doing stuff, but again, same thing, I
As an
love all
extra.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah,
But having jujitsu is like, well, I want to make my game better in jiu-jitsu. So now these other things are components of it. So if I run, it's helping my overall cardio.
right.
If I lift weights, it helps me with my joint health and helps me with my overall strength and endurance, that kind of stuff. So it's all components. So it keeps the other things interesting.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's all to help your game. I'm with you. It gives you
Better your overall jujitsu game.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
you have a goal. Like I don't want to get my ass tapped out again.
Yeah,
Like that's you come in and he's like learn real quick. I don't want to get my ass tapped out yet again by the same guy. Like maybe if I have a little more endurance, I could focus more on my technique then.
yeah. It is great though when you are like. There is that like when you do start seeing like when you're going with a guy, especially early on, where it's like, man, he got me like a couple times, and then the next time he gets you like maybe the first time he got you 3 times, next time he gets you 2.
Yep.
Then next time he gets you 1.
Yep.
Then you're breaking even, and then it's a fucking go.
Yeah,
like
yep.
that. I'll tell
Exactly.
you, that's the addiction that gets
But
people.
but that's motivating, yes.
yeah. Oh, big,
Yeah.
like. Dude, you take that with you, and that's inspiring too. When you're in the
Yeah.
ring,
Yeah.
like you're like, God damn, that guy caught me with this. Like you remember it, man. If I would have done this next time, and then you get back in,
The
and,
body
like,
shot you really remember.
forget those. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but okay. So, the body shot you'll never forget.
I remember some solid liver kicks that took me a minute to collect my thoughts.
I remember
think life of it.
pissing blood for 5 days. And my wife's like, you need to go to the doctor. No, I don't. I've been down this road before. It'll pass.
Yeah,
It's uncomfortable, but it'll pass.
yeah,
Because you damage something. So
Yeah.
you're going to the bathroom, it would get thicker.
Yeah.
And then it's like passing a freaking pebble.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because the
gosh.
blood.
Yeah,
And I
oh,
didn't
yeah.
realize you can end up with clots like that. I was like, oh, I've been here before. She'd hear me in the bathroom, like, what is the matter? I'm like, oh.
You're crying. You're
I'm fine.
But You learn real quick when that happens. You're like,
I'm protecting that.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing mitts with Harry one time. I don't know, like my teeth are all fucked up, but I have a chipped tooth here because I kept going to, like, we were going over body shots and I kept going a left to the body or left to the body, and he was like, if you don't cover your face, he's like, I'm gonna fucking let you have it. Like, you gotta cover
With the pads on.
yeah, with the pads. And then he's like, if you don't keep your right up when you go, if you don't keep it protected, like, I've warned you, you know? Like, we did it, like, we were going on the mitts, and then later I did it, and it was here, and he just went, bam, with the pad.
Yep.
And I was like, chip my fucking tooth.
Yeah.
I was like, what? You fucking learned.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're only one way you learn that lesson.
He wasn't patient that way.
No, but you got to learn quick in that game for sure. So, okay, so you come in here, it's like 2010-ish. You had lost some weight, so you're looking to keep yourself motivated and stay healthy. So you see, like, and I think that's a general interest in this place, Rich. Did you find that out?
Yeah.
Where people are like, I just kind of want to do something else to stay active, right? And
I always said something happened in their life that made them. It's either something happened in some type of confrontation and it made them feel uncomfortable, or they got out by the skin of their teeth, but they knew, like, shit, if this would have went a little bit longer, my ass is done.
Yeah.
Or they have a health scare.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's not because he was like, hey, I want to work on the guns and the buns. I want to look better in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You know,
So I'm not going to share that.
I'm not going to share that. Okay, we won't talk about that. Is there any way I can fill out these jeans in the backside better? Oh yeah, do jujitsu.
Yeah. That's great for
You know, it look like you have two basketballs in there.
Man, so okay, so you come in.
It's away from the frontage.
Yeah. Don't worry about the rest of you. Yeah, man. So okay, so you come in, right? And I'll tell this is I always like to hear this because I remember when I first came, like, I had been to like boxing gyms and stuff before, but there is a different feel to an MMA gym, especially because there's wrestling and jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, but so what was your first idea when you came in here? And then what did you, after coming in here, like, initially know? Like, because I'll tell you, I think everyone comes in here guns blazing, right? Like, they think like how resumes. We've all heard resumes, right?
I've seen many resumes.
Oh my God, the resumes. But what was your initial thoughts coming in?
So coming in, I mean, I'd done, like I said, I'd kind of been a little obsessed about jiu-jitsu ahead of time, but never trained it, just kind of was interested. So I knew kind of what to expect, but still wasn't even remotely what happened.
Yeah.
But, again, I talked to Rich, but every other person comes here with the idea of like, hey, I want to take boxing and no gi.
Yeah.
And maybe fight in the cage one time.
Yeah.
And Rich looks at me and goes, that's awesome. Here's a gi.
Yeah.
That was great. That's your goal. Here's a gi.
Yeah. That's the truth, man. That's it.
And rightfully so. Like,
Right.
listen, I mean, if I'm going, again, same deal, go to the doctor, I'm not going to be like, hey, doc, well, this is a better way to do it, as opposed to the guys who've been doing it for 30 years. Like,
True.
how about, seeing a couple people come through.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many times someone's told me that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I get the people that don't. I don't want to wear a gi.
Yeah.
I see all the no gi stuff,
Yeah.
and I go, look, that's fine and dandy. I love it
It's
too.
great. I
Yeah.
love no gi.
That is a different way of grappling. Later on down the road, you can go down. Learn in the gi first. It's gonna. That's gonna. Well, what? Why are you so against when? I feel uncomfortable, and it's usually somebody who's bigger.
Yeah.
You feel like I just can't. You can't use your size, right?
Yeah.
You feel like
Yep.
you're getting tied up.
Yeah.
It's slowing you up.
It's hard.
Yes,
Again,
that's
that's
correct.
it's
That's all the above.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
It puts everybody on a level playing field.
Yes.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So
Some
that
more than others.
when you ask them, you break it down. It's not, oh, well, I just prefer, because they have no experience.
No.
They just go, well, I feel like I have more freedom in no gi. Yes, you're correct. Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The gi's that's gonna fix all that. It's gonna make things correct. You're gonna do things correct. And look, at a certain point, then move on.
Yeah.
And you can do both.
Yeah.
I feel
Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like with the gi, it is almost a different game, right?
It is different.
It's like you have more chess pieces. You know what I mean? Like like with no gi, there's a ton of shit going on.
Yeah.
But like, dude, like, how fucking awful is it when someone grabs your sleeve? You know, like,
Grab
it's
your
just,
collar.
yeah. Like, there's a million things that you can do in gi and no gi. I don't know. That's what my thought.
The grips make all the difference in the world.
Oh,
Those connection points are huge.
I mean, I
yeah.
trained with guys that were doing it from the time they were little.
Yeah. baby geese.
And like when their grips, and I remember training with them and asking them, like, man, your grips are so good. And they're like, I've been doing it since I'm in 5 or 6. That's all I know. You know what I mean? But you take the gi off, and to them that felt a little awkward. But they would be able to make that adjustment within a week or 2. They're just using the gi. That is, they could have their eyes closed. That's their connection. They can, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's how they feel. They feel through that movement. It's almost like an electrical circuit.
Yeah.
Right. So, I would say grappling, you can grapple blindfolded, no gi, you use more of your legs to make that, because it's longer. So you use that to make more of the connection.
Yeah.
And you can feel how somebody moves. In the gi, you're using the material to feel how they move and how their body changes. And that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like too, if you go like, I mean, in my experience, at least being a lower level guy, when I go with a higher level guy, they have like they use the gi more to put you into places that you didn't know you were gonna go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's like Sweep City. You know
they guide you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Which is great. Hey man.
Yeah.
But also, if you didn't want gi, you ain't gonna learn none of that shit. You're like, not at that level.
I think if you look at all the guys that are for the most part world champions, they all have an extensive gi background. There is a few out there that have gotten to that world level without it, but for the most part, you're looking at a wide range, all solid gi guys. They might not compete in the gi, but they're all solid in the gi. There's you hear the arguments. I just think I would rather be really good at everything than just great at one thing.
Same.
If I put a gi on, for the most part, I might have a better no gi game. But for the most part, I can be very competitive in the gi, very competitive no gi. If we add striking to it and we add that end of it, because that's a whole nother, I can be very comfortable doing that. So I would rather be good at everything than great at one thing, because you can adjust. And I think that's what the gi does. It allows you wouldn't think that you would need that. But when you start having somebody grabbing and holding your wrist and they know how to hold, like you're basically using the same way to get rid of that as you would the gi for the most part, and bringing your legs into play too, to get rid of some of those grips. So, it's stuff that you develop as a young person coming up, learning in the gi first, to be able to make those adjustments, get rid of those grips, regain better grips yourself, and so forth.
All of those connection points. And it all makes, it makes total sense. I mean, listen, as I came in, I was like, I want to do boxing and no gi. Here's a gi. And I love the gi today. Just that's where my schedule allows me to be mostly, but I still love no gi just as much. I mean,
but when you train no gi, it's not a big deal. You're like, you just go out like a normal day.
Exactly. Just
give somebody a gi that never trained in the gi before. They could be doing no gi for 10 years. Put a gi on. They're not going to be that good. It's amazing, that material. And then people go, hey, out on the street, people are going to be walking around in a gi, but they are going to be walking around with a sweatshirt on. They're going to be walking around with a jacket on. Like it can happen. So
also, it helps you expand your game with no gi anyway. Like it's all part of the gimmick.
Look, I worked in clubs and doing security and all that. You know, people are wrapped up with a hoodie.
Hoodies are great to wrap people up with.
Wrap them up with that, choke them with it, and then put them out there to wake up out on the front lawn of the place. You had too much to drink, you passed out. Right? So
contemplate life decisions.
And you urinate it yourself. You might want to get that taken care of too. Gotta cut down on the drinking.
You're not when you wake up. So you're here. It's like you just start coming in. You get the gi. Dude, you probably like 40, 50 pounds heavier than you are now, something like that. Unbelievable. That's one thing me and Rich have said, and we were talking about too, before and after, man. If we did before and afters, forget it.
I'll share a picture, a before picture. I like to refer to him as Fat JR. He's a pretty jolly guy, very warm in the winter. It was nicer. Currently, I get colder in the winter, which kind of sucks. But Fat JR was a jollier guy.
2 inches taller with the hairy head.
So you're coming in, you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're doing Muay Thai, and then you did Muay Thai for like 10 years though, right? You were pretty heavy into that. but you then, as you would move on more towards, like, I would say jiu-jitsu would be more towards like where you would aim your stuff. What was like coming up? Did you remember like a specific time where you're like, this has elevated my game, or like this is a memory I think of when I go back to like I learned this the hard way or something like that?
There's a lot of those memories. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things learned the hard way. I remember just in particular, Steve Snodgrass. Yeah, he would, when I was a blue belt, he tormented me. I joke about this today. He tormented me to my blue belt for years because
Yeah.
he would ole past me, side control, north, south, and arm bar me on the far side.
Shit.
Every time.
And he's got a good arm bar.
Oh, fantastic arm bar. And he would, every time there was not a damn thing I could do about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that I was like, okay, this is not gonna happen today. Oh crap, happen
Yeah.
again.
And when they're walking through it, I'm gonna arm bar you.
Yep. Just stepping through it. This is not my safe spot. So
yeah. Do you know how many times I've been like,
Yeah.
where's
Well,
my safe word?
yeah. So, but did you get the progression of like, okay, he got it right away this time,
Yep.
and he did it 4 times, and then 3 times, and a lot,
Exactly.
and that's the progression you got to it, where it's, and then eventually though, you would start teaching classes,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Were you? So I remember. I mean, Rich, you want to talk about the story we talked about the other day, where you kind of had to revert to basics because there was a time when you were being taught stuff that was way ahead of the level you were at, and then your basics were kind of lacking, right? Do you remember that, Rich?
Yeah, without so he was coming up in the beginner class, and then we had sometimes people want to give more. They see people
Right,
and they go,
yeah.
"Oh, I want to,"
And you
You
see
know,
stuff on TV,
and they're like, "Hey, I think this group, even though they're beginners, they 0 to 6 months training. I want to show them this." And what that does is just create bad habits. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Learn how to mount, learn how to X choke, learn how to arm bar, guard, learn how to pass,
Yeah.
learn how to sweep, learn how to triangle somebody, learn how to like all the basic stuff. But sometimes that becomes monotonous when you've got one group after another, and you get certain instructors that go, "Hey, I want to make it more fun." They're not purposely doing it, but where they're at and where the new people are at, they're thinking, "Hey, I could teach them this.
Yeah.
They're going to engage in this. They're going to love it.
Yeah.
It's really going to get the juices flowing."
Yeah.
They don't realize it just confuses them.
Yeah.
They look at that and go, "What the freak
Too
did
big of
he?
a
What?
jump. Yeah.
Way too big of a jump."
Yep.
And you find a lot of the younger people tend to do that.
Yeah.
And my thing is, were you taught that way? No, you weren't.
Yeah.
The people try and reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
It's not broke. Don't worry about trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Just do it. As the instructor, you have to make that fun to want to learn those.
Yeah.
Just like kids, you create games and things for them to do. You make it fun so they want to keep getting better at those basics and then putting those simple basic techniques together in combination. It's like, look, if somebody mounts somebody and I go, they could be sitting on them, they could be mounted on their chest,
Yep.
and it looks like mount to everybody.
Yep.
But if they have no pressure and they're loose on the top and nothing,
You
you can feel that as it's useless, but it looks like mount.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things they're doing wrong
Yeah.
just in the way they're posturing in that mount position that, to the untrained eye, it looks the same. To the trained eye, you go, "Oh shit, look at all these gaps,"
Yeah.
right?
And that's from a lack of fundamentals.
Yeah. It's just, that's, you got to slow things up. Sometimes people go, "Oh yeah, I got mount. I'm sitting on his chest. I got it."
Yeah.
It's mount.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. And that's how they look at it. Very basic, very simple. They don't look at all the nuances to it.
Yeah.
And then it's by feel. Some of the stuff is just putting somebody there, going through the basic positions, and then emphasizing a lot of the fundamentals there, and then just drilling it over and over again. What I would do is walk around when we do mount and someone tells me they got a good mount and they're on top and the other person, they're pummeling. I would walk by and just grab their belt and try and yank them off.
Yeah.
If they were not glued to the person, I would just rip them right off.
Yep.
So if somebody was very loose on top,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised.
They'll just
I just come by and grab their belt real quick and just throw them off. And I'm like, yo, you're not doing 100%. You may be doing 25%.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you're not stuck. Now, other people I go and do that to, they don't even know I'm coming up on them. And they're stuck to that person like a booger on a doorknob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but they're using everything, right? And
Yeah.
it looks like they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. First buns and guns, now booger on a door. Nice. So then, okay, so like you're saying, you got tortured through your blue belt years, but you were real like I don't know, you kind of, and I think everybody that's in here kind of is that like mental set of like, this is just what I do now, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it can't
Yeah.
be just like,
No.
hey, I did this once. Like, no, if you want to do this, this is something
Yeah.
you do now.
Exactly.
And this is now forever, right? So I always thought this when, I mean, you can be taught a bunch of things, but I think to teach yourself stuff, it's if you start teaching, you learn so much more
Yeah.
from teaching, right? So you then started to pick up teaching classes, right? Were you teaching at the old place too, or just
No,
here?
just here.
Okay.
So-
You started with the kids, right?
So I started. So actually, what happened was, I think I was around a brown belt at the time,
Yeah.
and I got injured, like pretty bad injury. So
Oh, shit.
I tore actually a nerve root coming out of my spine, and it shut down like my tricep, shut down
Oh.
part of my chest, like
Yeah.
so it was like a hot fire poker in my spine for like.
Was this from lifting or?
No, I was
Oh.
training. I just training and did something stupid and
Yeah.
didn't even realize it till like
Yeah.
after the fact.
Usually wear and tear. It's usually
Exactly.
nothing.
It wasn't anything specific.
Yeah.
Just one of those things like,
Just
when you
fucking-
blow out a knee, like it's something small. So I'm never saving a box of kittens. It's
Yeah.
always like
Yeah.
I'm tripping over the cat.
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of just same situation. It was
Yeah.
like I went home, I had like a hot fire poker in my spine. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't move my arm. It was crazy. So they eventually figured out with neurologists and all this kind of crap what it was. And the neurologist actually told me I'm done training. He's like, "You're done, dude. Like that's it."
Back to the proctologist.
Exactly. That was plan B.
Well, I've already been there.
What do you mean? I got a punch card.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, shit. So I'm like, and my God love my wife because she puts up with so much shit.
No,
I mean,
dude,
Jesus.
I think we could all say that.
So I go home and I'm like, I'm dive back doctor. I'm like taking all my geese, throwing like put them in a fucking pile.
Yeah, you're fucking.
And
you're
I'm like,
pissed.
I'm fucking
You're pissed.
done. I'm
Yeah.
like this, and she's like, she goes, she kind of walks in. So I'm like taking them like outside. She's like, comes actually like, you done?
Yeah.
I'm like, just about.
Yeah. It's like you done throwing your temper tantrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Fucking women. Man.
he said that, not me.
Yeah. We'll cut
So
that.
You can't edit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then I text Rich. I'm like, hey, I'm hurt. I don't know when I'll be back. Not 3 seconds later, my phone rings.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you yell at me?
Yeah.
He goes, hey, listen, I know you're hurt. It sucks. Part of life. It's part of this, part of it.
Part of the game.
Listen, you want to be active is part of it, whatever. Great. He's, why don't you come in and help me teach while you recover? I'm like, never really thought about that, but okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So then I came in. I couldn't really train because I had no strength in my left arm. Like I went from being able to do 100 push-ups. I couldn't even hold myself up anymore.
No shit.
Yeah, it was insane.
Fuck. Okay, so then you're just like you're recovering while teaching.
Exactly.
Right?
And Rich even told me, he's like, listen, this will get better.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to just stay engaged.
Stay engaged.
the whole time. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right. So then
Helps with your motivation.
I completely.
Mentally, it keeps you focused. It keeps you there. You're going to get a lot from just helping out and
Oh my
teaching.
God.
And then before you know it, you're training your mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's
Yeah.
not just a physical thing, it's a mental thing. And that's the
Yes.
biggest part.
Yeah.
That's why I told him. I said, look, I was down there. I had neck surgery. I had 3 levels
Yep.
replaced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
people have been there. I mean, I had it bad. I had, a drop arm, a
Yep.
drop hand from the nerve damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And years of just abuse. I wouldn't say I should have took care of it 10 years prior to,
Exactly.
all that stuff happening, but you don't. You just
Yeah.
keep going, is what it is. I
You're
didn't
like,
think
"Ah,
about
it'll
it.
Go away.
Not a problem right now.
Yeah.
I remember getting stingers after wrestling for my feet and getting stingers in my arm to where I could barely move my hand.
Ugh.
And I just sit on the side, felt like a hot burning,
Yeah.
poker. And I would wait a couple minutes and it would come out. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. And I'd be back training again. Like it was just, I got so used to it. In football, very
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
with stingers. So people know, like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Then all of a sudden
Yeah,
they get that. And then everything comes back and they feel good again. They're fine. But over time, you're constantly doing that. You go years down the road,
Yeah.
2 decades. And then
Yep.
before you know it,
All that repetitiveness.
Yeah.
so, I just told him, I've been through it. I know
Yep.
this is what's going to happen. I was there. This is what you got to do.
Yeah.
And truly kept me engaged. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, who knows if I would have wandered off or like just sat out and like not done anything. Who the hell knows?
Listen,
Yeah.
Everybody does. I'm going to give advice. I know people, you might listen, you might not, but I'm going to give you some advice.
Yeah. Take what you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm with you. Man, so then you started teaching. I'll tell you this, man. You're like, I love when you teach class. You do a great job, but I think too, it's
Much
partial.
value for that.
No, yeah. But no, I'll tell you, this has been told to me before, where I think it was Josh or Mike Foreman came up to me. They're like, dude, someone came up to me after class and said, oh, you teach a class just like Matt does. And I was like, yeah, well, I teach a class just like fucking Rich does.
Yeah, exactly. I teach like Rich does.
Exactly, right? So it's like you kind of learn from what you know, but you're able to teach, and like you've taught the kids and stuff too.
Yep.
But that's like, I think, Rich, did you recognize, like, you were at a brown belt at the time of the injury, so many years and like so much work and time and everything coming into that, and was that like in your thought when you said like, hey, let's start teaching now, right?
It's like quitting high school or college your senior year.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't, you already put all the work in.
Exactly.
It does not make sense.
Yeah.
Cross the finish line.
Yeah.
And then you're going to stay with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what it was. And look, I've done it with other people too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's the same thing. Knee injuries, shoulder injuries.
Yep.
Look, get the surgery, come in here and sit on the side,
Yeah.
take notes, watch class,
Yeah.
help me out.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody here you can help. Even if you're like a blue belt,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, you could be a white belt, couple stripes, you've been training a certain amount of time. You could sit on the side, you can help out with other people. You've already been
Exactly.
through a portion of the journey.
Yeah.
So sometimes people just need reassurance, like, oh, I was there 6 months ago. I know exactly what you're going through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all people need, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus,
Exactly. it.
too, I'll tell you one of the things, and like when I was living in the city and I had to stop coming here, like and like they talk about in the NFL all the time, the thing you miss the most is the locker room.
Yeah.
Right. Like you miss the community. It's
absolutely.
the community here, like that
It's
you
huge.
needed to be a part of, because that keeps you engaged just as much, if not more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know.
completely.
It's the community that's built here, and you're a big part of it, man. I'll say it, and I think everybody knows.
Appreciate that.
He found his niche in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Not proctology.
Yeah.
No.
It's
Hey,
not about that.
sometimes that's what it does. And then think about it, you're here,
Yeah.
you're taking a different role, but yet you're going, hey, wow, I've actually gotten better.
Yeah.
That's what he said. After he got back and he was able to start training again, he goes, I can't believe it. Like I felt
Yeah.
like I lost nothing.
Yes.
I actually made gains.
Yeah.
That was exactly true. I was telling Matt earlier. I was like, if you can articulate jujitsu or anything to somebody who has no idea what the topic, it just makes you better. I remember in the beginning, I'd be like, okay, just move your hand there. And the guy'd be like, somebody looking at me like, what?
Yeah.
I'd have to like sit down and like show them. And now I can explain it.
Yeah.
But also helps your understanding too, because I can look, when I started, I'd look at something, the instructor would show it, Rich would show it, and I'd be like, I got this. I'd walk 2 feet over to my partner. I have no idea.
Yeah. Just blank out.
Blank.
Yeah.
But today I can take it, I can retain it, I can reproduce it, and then also, re-articulate to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, which I think is amazing skill to have.
Oh, the best, dude, the best. I think, yeah.
And whatever your struggle was, like your struggle might have been different than what my struggle was.
Yeah.
And you go, hey, I had problems learning this move, doing this. And you know how I got it? I figured it out this way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they could learn the technique the same way, but then you could help them through it because you're like, hey, I noticed you're kind of struggling like I was struggling.
Yeah.
Do it this way. I think it might help you out a little bit. And that's kind of, I was told a long time ago, it's hard to be wrong in jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
It's hard to be wrong in
That's
jiu-jitsu, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So, yes, when you're doing a certain technique, a triangle, obviously, I have to have my legs connected correctly. I have to have the correct pressure and so forth. But how I got there and how I set it up changes.
Yeah.
When I finish, the finish is always the same, right?
Yeah.
But how I got there is going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing. You might get somebody there. They might maybe need a slightly different pathway in order to get to that finish, to finish the right way.
Yes.
Body types, different flexibility.
Yes.
There's so many variables to what, to a position to somebody that, I always say to everybody, the newer people, especially, like, listen, we could teach you the same 3 people, the same 1,000 or 100 moves.
Yes.
They're all going to adopt them differently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their game is going to be different, and how they interpret them is going to be different.
You start to see that about purple belt.
Yep.
Like where people start developing a style. That's why I tell you don't teach styles. You
No.
teach jujitsu.
Yes.
That's
That's what you teach.
Yeah.
they will adapt their own style to their strengths and their weaknesses.
Exactly.
You know, if you're a flexible person or a non-flexible person, you're strong, you're explosive,
Yeah.
you're gonna take and create your own game around all those basic techniques you learn. When you see people teaching styles,
Yeah.
I go, that's a system within inside a system.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That
Not everyone can do that. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
you're gonna end up with a shortcoming.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what's
Absolutely.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, you're building a house on a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's where the problems come. You see it like as people start getting to that purple belt level. They're training about 4 or 5 years now,
Yeah.
and now they're hitting that rocky road where you could have ups and downs. And a
Yeah.
lot of times you go back to your basics
Yep.
Absolutely.
and fix them.
Yeah.
And if your basics aren't that solid, they're not easy fixes.
No. God, no.
So sometimes when stuff is like confusing and there's this long road and you're like, oh, you gotta do all this extra stuff, that might not be what you need. You
Yeah.
need to simplify things, make them to where you can apply them right away. And it's
Exactly.
always like that's the general basics.
Yeah.
Simple, easy to use, just drill the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
And
you know,
it's different for different people.
Yeah,
You're exactly
exactly.
right.
It-
The moves are the same, right? You're gonna, hey, if you do an armbar, you better grab it this way. You better, you know what I mean? Like that's all gonna be the same. But the way your body type can do it is gonna
Yeah.
be different for every person.
Exactly.
You're exactly right. And that's they have to develop their own style.
they have to
Yeah.
develop their own style, and that's gonna come naturally. Now, as you get somebody, maybe you're a tall, lanky person,
Yeah.
and they move kind of similar to you, same flexibility, same. You can look and go, hey, you know, I had success this way. I noticed you kind of move like I do.
Yep.
This could help you out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you're not going to get some short, stubby, stiff guy and go, hey, you know, I'm a tall, lanky guy,
Yeah.
and maybe this. No, you let them stick with the base. They're going to figure out something,
Yeah.
and that's gonna work for them. They'll make the adjustments just through training.
Yeah.
You know, you take Hodger Gracie, like in the peak of his career. I mean, he's finishing guys in mount. Nobody was finishing guys in mount,
Yeah.
and he finished with a simple X choke that you learn as a white belt.
Yeah.
People are like, how's he doing it? He position trained the shit out of that
Yeah.
position to where you couldn't get off. I think in his last IBJF worlds, it was either like 4 or 5 former black belt world champions. He finished with mount and an X choke, which
That's
people are
amazing.
like, nobody at
Was
black
like a
belt gets
base-
finished in an X
I
choke.
know,
Yeah.
But I go, that's the same thing if someone said, oh, no, black belts don't get finished in guillotines either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not true
That's
either.
true,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's who's applying them and how efficient are they? He worked the shit out of that position,
Yep.
that mount, pass to mount, which nobody was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And he was stuck on you. You
Yeah.
could not get rid of him.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, his technique was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And that is all the basics. That's as basic as it can get.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're learning that the first month you're training.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
one of the most common, most basic positions,
Yes.
and one of the most effective.
And people blow it off like, I'll never use
Exactly,
that. It's an X
exactly.
choke. I'll never get to that.
Yep.
No, but because they don't understand how to hold the position.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just, now you're starting to see people revisit it
Yep.
Mhm.
because of Gordon Ryan.
Mhm.
So you're probably taking, you know, I'm going to go out. I mean, there's a lot of good guys, but I'm probably saying Hodger Gracie, Gordon Ryan, probably the 2 best guys ever coming from the same organization.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
John Danaher, who's his head coach, another former Renzo Gracie black belt.
Yeah.
But there's something to say about the way Renzo instructs and
Yeah.
teaches that had an influence on his instructors and then the way they instruct and their students.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good guys out there, and you know, like Hodger and Gordon are proven guys. And like I said,
Yeah.
you know, because of Renzo Gracie guys, but I say they're probably the 2 best guys in the world ever
Really. Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu. Both guys, very good mount, which is not common.
Yeah.
Very good mount and very good finishers.
Yep.
High rate of finishing.
Yeah. Hey.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
right.
but
Basics.
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 If you're great at the basic, hey man, I remember there was a guy when I was in high school. His name was Mark Smith, right? And he was known as the headlock king. And if you wrestle,
Yeah.
headlock's like one of the first things you learn.
Yep.
Everybody knows the headlock. But this kid, he could hit it from anywhere. And he was like, this was his thing. He trained headlock, and he broke the state record for pins. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like it is what it is.
With a headlock.
With a headlock.
With a headlock and pinning.
Exactly. And it's because it's so basic. But if you work,
Exactly
and you can get it from anywhere, do it from any position, you can become just incredible at it. But you need to know other things too.
I remember Renzo telling me Kimura, the original Japanese man who created it, and his name, the move was named after him, finished people while they're mounted on him, hitting a Kimura. And I'm thinking in my head, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
Because I love that.
Yeah.
But incredible technique.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably a guy that was like me, 5'10", 185 pounds, so a stocky build.
Yeah.
But he's hitting a Kimura while being mounted.
Unreal.
It's incredible. But he got that technique to where he could hit it anywhere, and it was so good that he was finishing guys.
And he knew how to put like I feel like is like body placement part of that as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It all goes hand in hand.
So when you're saying like train the positioning, he knew 100 million different ways to put you in that position to just jump right on that.
Well, and he had an answer for every position. So he took that Kimura and he hit it standing. He could hit it from side control, but he figured out, hey, if I get mounted, can I still hit this technique? And he worked it. I would have never done that. I've been like, let me get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? I'm on the bottom being mounted.
I want to be.
So things to think about, you know, like, hey, he had an answer for that. And I think you don't need to have 20 submissions. Right?
Yeah.
You need to have just a small handful.
Yep.
And a good understanding of position and control.
Yeah.
And you're going to hit one of those.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a small handful you need.
Yeah.
I always go with the most common ones, right?
Go with what works.
So, you know, your guillotine and all your variations of head and arm chokes, very common. You can hit them anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
The Kimura. I can not only hit the Kimura, but I can also hit a straight arm lock off of that. It's a lot of different positions. I can hit it anywhere. Triangle. Pretty much hit it anywhere. Back, mount, side control, guard, pretty much anywhere, and high rate of finish, right?
Yeah.
So you take them with the position and you put them together. And there you go. You don't need a lot. You just have to have good understanding of position and a handful of good finishes where people know you're going to do it, but they can't stop you.
Yeah. So good at they can't stop you.
Exactly.
The position does that.
Exactly.
If your position's tight enough, you make them so uncomfortable. They want to be finished.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They want to be out of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like, just finish me and just get this over with.
You were doing that, and you did it the other day too, where we showed like if you're in top position, put the fucking chest on their head and let them have it. Right? They're not like it there.
You got to make it uncomfortable for them. If you're trying to be super nice, and I'm not saying be a dick. I'm just saying make it uncomfortable.
When you're the boss when you're there.
And then you're going to start to see different things. You're going to get a different reaction out of them. That's going to open things up. And that's what it is. You want to take simplicity. Like I always go, when people watch videotapes, they were all meant as a review of something you're doing to kind of hone in and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. I know people that's all they do. I couldn't do it. I just, but that's what they do. But with that, you cannot see and feel how much pressure or how fast the person's moving. Whether I'm breaking tape down for a match or for a fight, whether it be striking, you can never determine the pressure, the strength, or the speed at which they move.
Yeah. You're right. Exactly. You're 100% right.
So they're the three things that you can never see on a tape. So when people watch the tape, they end up if they're watching something that's way more advanced than where they're at, that's the part that they're missing. And they're never going to understand that. They're just seeing the move. And that's why I brought up mount in the beginning. You could be sitting on somebody's chest, not know what the hell you're doing, and it looks like mount to an untrained eye. But somebody knows what they're doing, they're gonna be like when I did it to you guys the other day. You can feel the pressure. It's uncomfortable.
Oh, big time.
You see it right in their face, right?
There's a big difference.
But if I would have put somebody else on your chest, I said, "Oh yeah, that's mount." Oh yeah, that's mount.
It looks like it, but it's you're exactly right. The applied pressure and like position, you're 100% right.
I had that exact question from somebody the other night about their mount. Oh, why is my mount work? Why am I getting bumped off? I feel like every time I watched the match ahead of time when they were training, they kept getting reversed. Why is it happening? Same exact reason. No pressure. You look like you're in mount, but you're post it up on your hands, like leave a line press, spread out, feet tight to the hips. Like you got to be glued. It's exactly.
And that's training. That's
Yes.
time. There's no, everybody talks about invisible jujitsu. No, invisible jujitsu is just time on the mat.
It's experience.
Regardless of how athletic you are,
Yes.
you need time on the mat to hone those skills and to get a true understanding.
Yeah.
You know, there's no other way around it. I always go like people train long enough, you know, you're 5, 6, 7 years, things start to even out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get somebody, man, they learn real quick. 2 years, they're freaking setting the world on fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a point where they're going to slow up, and the person who learns a little bit slower took their time, they're going to eventually catch up. And that could be at like 5 years. And I'm going with people training regular,
Yeah.
you know, 3, 4
consistency.
times a week.
Yeah.
They're both training consistently. That person will catch up. It's just going to take them a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but they will. You start getting somebody 5 to 7 years, things start evening out a little bit now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, we are coming towards the top of time, though. But before we get out of here, I mean, Rich, you and me are usually on the same page with this. With JR, we would love to have you back on. We'd be willing to come back.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that proctology you did.
Yeah.
Let us know how that goes.
Subscribers you left.
Yeah. So, before we get going, I did want to ask, what is the thing you love the most about jiu-jitsu? Can you say, or could you like quantify it into one sentence?
Honestly, not one. I mean,
Yeah.
I love jujitsu. I mean,
Yeah.
the reality of it is, I like the training.
Yeah.
You know, I love going live, and you know, I love making mistakes and learning from them.
Oh, dude.
I
the
love
best.
the biggest, I guess the biggest one being learning. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's always evolving. It's
Keep
always
your mind
changing.
engaged.
You never stop. All the years I've been doing it, I always go, I still learn something new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause
A
it's
different
evolving.
approach. Yeah. It's
Different
evolving.
entry, everything. It's you know, it's like, okay, hey, I got, you know, never look at your losses in training. Like here,
No.
here, we're training here. We're all training
Yeah,
partners,
nobody
whatever.
cares.
It's not a loss.
No
It's a
one- no
you
one's gonna
learn
remember
from
it
it.
tomorrow.
Don't
Yeah.
get butthurt about it because
yeah.
oh, this guy tapped me because he got, you know,
No,
listen.
leave the ego at the door.
Exactly. Like just, you know, how many times like I got my ass beat over the years just from like, and I've stopped learning to make as many mistakes. Still make them.
Right.
Still gonna get submitted. Still gonna get, you know, these things happen. Like this
Yeah.
is the part of journey of learning. And
Yeah.
it's a journey. So yeah, I love everything that the whole aspect of jiu-jitsu, the community of it, as you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
These are all important things.
Yep.
It's amazing. I mean, just look what it's done for your life, man. You know, like
Telling you.
it's almost like I wouldn't say giving you purpose because you had plenty of purpose before that,
Yeah.
but I mean, provided you a path to go down to bring you happiness and fulfillment and learning and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that's incredible. That is like, what else can do that?
Exactly.
Once you get to a purple belt, I feel like you'll be doing it the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Unlike anything else, you'll be learning.
Yeah.
You have a great group of friends that just grows and grows.
Oh yeah.
Networking,
another thing.
it's a
Yeah.
great networking.
Yeah,
Business wise, it's
absolutely.
great networking. It's like going networking before in business would be going and playing golf.
Yeah.
Now it's doing jujitsu and maybe golf,
Yeah.
right? So both allow you to interact with somebody, you have common goals, whether I'm getting better at golf or
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
jujitsu on the mat with them, and you have common interest and other common things that come into play, but it's great networking that way.
Yeah.
So I always go, people, you're going to rub shoulders and meet people you would have never met,
Exactly.
you know, doing the same thing you do a couple times a week, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to hang out with Ruger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
So I mean, I'll tell you this. I was watching Kimmel the other day, and he's an actor director, John Favreau. You know him?
Yep.
Great
Absolutely.
dude, big
Yeah.
guy, right? But he had said they had talked about he had hired Jimmy Kimmel's nephew to be on Mandalorian,
Yep.
and he had said we love working with actors that have jujitsu and mixed martial arts
Yeah.
experience, especially the kids, because they're like easier to direct and
Yep.
like just work better, right? And I think that's just like a shout out to jujitsu and like
Yeah.
that
Yep.
kind of thing. It's training for your life. It
Exactly.
really is, right? Because you come in here, man, like doing a session or a class. Work.
Look at the guys that are doing it now. Brett Michaels from Poison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It changes
Mark
lives.
It's humbling.
Zuckerberg.
It's humbling.
I'd like to train with him, though, to be honest with you.
I'd love to-
He's your coach with you, too.
Yeah.
Give a shit. Look at freaking-
But I mean, like the things like
Joe Rogan.
is done for jujitsu.
Yeah.
Can't be understated.
Please.
He's a guy that like wholeheartedly loves
Yes,
jujitsu
yes. Great love.
and you know, has been a big advocate of it. I
Monster proponent. Honestly, too, like,
think it helped him make him what he is.
and I think too, he's really helped expand it to the female audience. As well.
Absolutely.
It's been like, because Rich, you probably would know better, but like the amount of female like jujitsu practitioners is probably what tripled in the last maybe 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Easily.
It's a little kids coming up because there's just as many girls training as boys now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now they're starting to go into your beginner adult programs.
Yes.
So you're starting to see that all kind of the last 10 years that really kind of
Yeah.
pull in
Oh yeah.
into the other. It's just become very common now. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, you know, the biggest thing I'd have with women is, oh, I feel uncomfortable. Well, you're going to feel uncomfortable when you get attacked. So I'd rather feel uncomfortable in a controlled environment where you know everybody.
Exactly.
And you're going to learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Look, I love all the other arts, but if you have a guy even the same size as you and he hits you, it's going to be twice as much force as what you're hitting with. I would never, if you hit somebody, they're going to want to hit you back. Yeah. They're hands on and grabbing you. Yeah. Boy, when in doubt, choke them out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't take a lot of strength to get a hold of that neck.
Nope.
You could be 100 pounds.
And
you get a hold of a 200-pound guy's neck.
Right.
The results are going to be the same. It's like a snake.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's less damage. It's just as effective. Like it's one of those few things where I feel like that's a great equalizer for women. If the guy doesn't know, he gets hands on before you know it, boom, they got your neck. You're going to have problems. And that happens just because the other person doesn't know. Right.
Exactly. And you can train, but jiu-jitsu is unique too, because you can train at a hard pace, like a high level, almost 100%. Ultimately tap and it's over, like without preventing injury.
Yes.
I get punched in the face 100%. I mean, it explains why I look the way I do.
But it keeps you.
But like, yeah,
but you're in uncomfortable, compromising positions, and you learn to become comfortable with it.
Oh.
And that's the same thing for women doing this. It's the exact same thing. You're going to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations and positions in a controlled environment. Sure. Why not do it now? Yeah. Then when it happens, you're not even going to think about it. It's going to be boom, instant, right?
I remember,
and it's same for men. You know what I mean?
I remember when I started. Yeah. The first time I got choked, for whatever reason, and I've seen it every time since from anybody else. First time you get choked, person's reaction is the chin up, arms down.
Yep.
Like the exact opposite we should do. I remember I was like, oh my God, that was scary. Like it's like, oh, you get choked.
Yeah.
Now, 1,000 chokes later, you're like, okay, turn the chin.
You take your time. Unless it's on.
Every new person that gets choked that first time, when it's unexpected, they stiffen
panic
and lift their chin.
Yeah.
What's the unknown?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Once you've experienced it so many times, it's a hell of a lot harder to choke you.
Yep.
Because you know how to defend it. You know how to stay calm in that.
But you got to condition yourself for that, mentally and physically.
I agree. Mentally, I think mentally first, and then I agree. Mentally, to know, like I told like
I survived.
Like, hey, count to 5 before you tap and see, like, unless you're seeing the lights, then
if you see a white flash, tap instantly.
Yeah. Early enough. That's it. Yeah, I'm with you. But okay, so we are coming to the top of time, JR, man. This was so much fun, dude.
Appreciate it, guys.
Dude, Doc and the Deacon.
So shout out to my doctor on this one. I still the same guy all these years. He really got me kind of on a good path with things. Here now it is over 10 years later, and I don't have those problems. So he's the one who gave me the kick in the ass. So I appreciate
there you go.
That. So his podcast, he's Doc and the Deacon.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining. He's very much a guy of science. These guys, buddy, who's very religious, so they have a good back.
Wow, he's gonna love this then.
We'll have a link in the description of this episode for Doc and the Deacon on Spotify and stuff. And check it out, man. I subscribe to him. Definitely check it out. Sounds like a lot of good stuff.
Right on.
Awesome, man. But before we get out of here, is there anything you want to say to your friends, family before we take off, or your fans?
Listen to the podcast.
No proctol. All proctologists were not hurt. No proctologists were hurt.
No proctologists.
Listen, the biggest support at the end of the day, like, my wife, like, puts up with a lot as far as it goes. Like, a lot of time out the way. So I appreciate it.
She still brings you snacks in between classes.
She does. She still comes in. She still stays married to me 20 years later.
You teach him multiple classes. She brings in a little snack for him, and then grabs the kids after they're done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's get the little brown bag.
Yeah.
P&J.
It's not a flaming bag. I'm like that.
Dude, I'll tell you, there's a million beautiful women in the world, but not all of them bring you snacks at jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
True story.
You're pretty blessed right
exactly.
there. Let's just look at like what we've been talking about. Your whole family, like this.
Yeah.
It's a family thing. My son trains. My son's 10 now. 6, and my daughter, my wife have been in. Like, everybody. It's soul.
I told my wife it's a non-starter. As soon as my daughter's 5, she's in here.
I've had Mattal just brought his 7-month-old son in the other day to get a picture on the mat. Nevin Johnson, I think his son's coming up on 7 months.
Yep.
He's talking the same thing. He can't wait.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a bunch of people
Oh yeah.
with their kids coming in here. Somebody else too. They have twin girls.
Yeah.
They're 3 right now.
Yep.
But they're talking about, hey, as soon as they're 4, they're
in.
they're on the mat, they're
Yeah.
training. That's it.
Yeah.
So you love to hear that because I
Yeah,
have a
exactly.
ton of families. People that
Oh,
started me when they were kids, through college, through the military, back with their families training.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can't beat that.
It's amazing. That's
It's
what's
amazing. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It makes you feel old, but that's, besides that, I love
There's
it.
a lot
You
of
know what I
things that
mean?
do- yeah,
good
yeah.
proctology.
Yeah,
folks take care of that.
yeah, right?
Yeah. So,
Hey, you got something to say? That's common now.
yeah. Rich, what do you got to say before we get out of here?
Watch the podcast.
Yes.
Watch and listen.
Like, share, and subscribe, baby. That's it. Well, speaking of subscribing, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by the one and only Rich Latta, and our special guest today is JR Roach. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. Yeah, also on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspective@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe so we keep bringing you this sweet, sweet content. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See you.
I was gonna say.
Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott and Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.